I feel like we're being punked just a little bit. Like, anybody else kind of feel that way? We're being a little bit punked. So, we're in episode number 3 of new makeup releases in 2023. I'm going to link in the description box and also in the the full playlist of new makeup releases that I have done over the years. This is a continuing series for me. This is where I sit down. I try doing it once a week. Sometimes life kind of gets in the way and I'm not able to film. I try doing it once a week, sometimes once a month. It really just depends on life, where we sit down and we talk about new makeup releases. Honestly, right now, Makeup Land, it's like there's so many new releases and so many things that I really want to talk about. And that's typically when I sit down, is when it's like something that really intrigues me and I want to talk about it because I'm like, "Oh, would I buy that?" Or I have like an unfiltered opinion on it. And that's been happening a lot lately because makeup releases in general have been like really just, this is the time of year where, if you guys didn't watch last week's video, I mentioned this as well, but this time of year we get a break from like December until February, and then February all the spring launches start coming out. And the reason why we have that break is because all of the Christmas launches came out at like, November, December, and some of them were even in October, but then brands take a break and they kind of refocus and they start halfway through like January. They even like, it literally starts like halfway through quarter one that they start launching new releases. And it's because the weather is changing. Spring launches are coming. New York Fashion Week is right around the corner. So a lot of makeup brands, they thrive on makeup launches right around this time of year. And I had a lot of unfiltered thoughts and opinions about new makeup launches that were announced and sneak peeked this week. The first couple of things that I do want to mention is more not along the lines of like beauty, like new makeup releases, but makeup news. And we wanted to I wanted to talk real quick about two makeup brands that I specifically follow. And the first one has to be Tresluz Beauty. Tresluz Beauty. This is the brand by Becky G. This is just an example of one of her products. And it was announced on their Instagram that they are taking a hiatus. But on January 31st, which I can't believe this didn't pop up into the algorithm for me. Like this, like, I mean, we're halfway through February and this just is now popping up into the algorithm for some reason. Thank you, family. We created Dress Beauty to honor the unique beauty within you and create a world built on culture, community, and color. We're truly humbled by the immense love and support we've received over the past 2 years and can't wait for our next chapter. We couldn't have made it this far without you. Tresluz Beauty is not necessarily closing their doors, but there have been emails that have been going out recently that like 70% off. Get it before it's gone. I think that they might be going through either a rebrand or I am thinking they're going through a rebrand and a redistribution process, and they possibly got bought out by somebody. I first found out about the brand through a BoxyCharm subscription, and it actually was available in Ulta stores as well, and it looks like you can't even find the brand on Ulta anymore. So it looks like the brand is going into its next chapter. Some of the emails that I had been receiving were like, "Oh, we're, get it before it's gone, for our next chapter." So I think that maybe they've gone through a buyout or they're just rebranding or just they're going through something, not necessarily closing according to their verbiage because they're ready for like the next chapter. But it is definitely something that I wanted to mention. And then I posted a shorts video about this. All right, everybody. I was just on Reddit and I saw this feed. Is Scott Barn Cosmetics over? So somebody was randomly checking out the Scott Barnes Cosmetics website. They were thinking about purchasing from it, and it looks like quite possibly that the brand is closing down because nothing was in it. But it looks like Scott Barnes Cosmetics, like something's going on with them as well. If you guys aren't familiar with Scott Barnes Cosmetics, Scott Barnes is actually a professional makeup artist. He's the makeup artist for Jennifer Lopez. He's been on, Tati Westbrook's channel quite a bit, and he has his own makeup line as well. And that's geared more toward like professional makeup artists. And a lot of his product is a lot more high end. The price point is more high end luxury. But again, like his product is really focused on like makeup artists, professional makeup artists, I should say. But somebody posted on a Reddit feed that they went to the Scott Barnes website and there was nothing there. It was completely shut down. So in makeup news, I've not seen anything being announced from Scott Barnes or from the brand that, they are closing down. Like there's nothing on, as far as I know, on Instagram. There's nothing that's really been like announced, but it looks like the website was not working for somebody and it was actually down. So I am actually kind of curious if they closed down their website to just sell to retailers or if something's going on with the brand in general. There were a couple of makeup launches that I wanted to mention. One of them is there is actually a new formulation of the L'Oreal Infallible foundation. I am actually in the middle of doing like a wear test for this. But it is a 32-hour vitamin C formulation of the L'Oreal Infallible. Now, the old version was 24 hours, did not have vitamin C, and now this one actually has a broad spectrum of SPF 25. I'm not sure. I don't remember the last one having SPF in it, but correct me if I'm wrong, leave me a comment down below. That was um spotted by me in the store as something that's new, and it was also posted over on Point Click Vibes and also on Everything Beauty News. And also on, if you guys look at Everything Beauty News, LYS is actually launching a new blush stick. It is a new higher standards cream blush stick from LYS Beauty. It is a blush that is irresistibly creamy, instantly brings a pop of color to the cheeks with an illuminating finish. And it looks like they are going to be previewing the product on Sephora on February 21st, and then it'll actually be live in the store on February 24th. So like next week it'll be live. And you can also find it on the LYS Beauty website as well. And you can actually go there now and you can actually take a look at the LYS Beauty website and you can see like, you can actually see, like, all the colors and the pricing. They will be $20, and there are 7 shades. So that one, I've actually heard of the bronzer sticks being, like, super pigmented, super blendable, super beautiful, and I'm hoping that the higher standards blush is really, really similar. I have, like, the compact version of the cream blush, and I love it. So in a stick form, that'll be really interesting. I was actually kinda hoping that they would come out with something more in, like cream blush like this. Kinda like the Rare Beauty or something like this that was, like, in the same like, the higher standards, more like this, where it's actually in, like, a doe foot application instead of, like, a stick, because stick just tends to sometimes it goes on too pigmented, but I guess if you use a beauty blender, it's not going to be, like, as pigmented as what it would be if you just, like, apply it to the cheeks. So those are some new things. We also have a new collection from Oden's, the legendary Diversa 2 collection, and it's a collaboration with Tina from the Fancy Face, Judy, and Annette's Makeup Corner. This is actually available now on the Oden's website. It actually launched on February 14th. You can buy the entire legendary Diversa collection for like $211. On the day that I'm filming this, it looks like all of the palettes are still available and they retail for $36.90. So Judy did the Spring Dragon, and the Spring Dragon is inspired by the Chinese dragon, as 2024 is also the year of the dragon. This is more of a pastel leaning eyeshadow palette with like a pop of like coral and like almost like a peachy red shade in there. It's beautiful, but I was looking at it and I kind of feel like I might already have something like this in my collection. So I actually kind of wanted to like shop my stash and see if I have something like this before committing to a palette. And then we have the Mighty Monster palette. This one is from Annette's Makeup Corner. And this one is more, it feels a little bit more jewel toned because it does have those jewel toned blue, green, like turquoisey colors. It has a pop of red, it has a pop of yellow, a pop of orange. You could definitely go a little bit more neutral with this, or like if you want like a jewel toned look. And it also has some pops of like pinkish purple in there as well. It is really pretty. I think if you're looking for playing with color, but you also want a palette that offers like neutrality, this would be a really good palette if you have some, if you are looking for something like that in your collection, because there are a lot of shades in here that can translate to more of a neutral shade on your eye. And then the last palette is from Tina, the Fancy Face, and it's the Earthwood palette. This one is definitely very purple. It has some very vibrant, like neon shades in here. And then it also has some really earthy tones, and it definitely matches the theme of the cover art for the palette. This one is really beautiful. It actually kind of feels a little bit like in some of the swatches, it feels a little bit muted, but in other looks and things, it looks very vibrant. So it looks like it's another one of those palettes that would be really easy to translate from like a neutral look to a colorful look. But this one is more earthy toned, whereas Annette's is more like jewel toned. So if you guys are more into earthy tones, this one may be for you. It also would be really pretty at Easter time because it has like pops of turquoise and mint in here. It's a really beautiful brown. It's like a really deep, sultry, like green shade as well. This one's really beautiful. Again, the entire collection, they also come with lip products. We're not going to talk about that today, but the entire collection you can purchase for like $211, or you can purchase each individual palette. You can purchase just each individual collection. The Oden's Eye formula is beautiful and I love it. It's one of my favorite formulas. It's absolutely stunning. You can't go wrong with an Oden's Eye formula. I've bought so many Oden's Eye collections over the years, and it's one of my favorite formulas. Honestly, if like I had to go and only choose one eyeshadow brand to buy from for the rest of my life, it would be Oden's Eye. We have a lot of blushes that were also announced this week. I feel like last week was the week of the blush. This week, there's still a lot of blushes. We're going to highlight on some of these. We left off talking about the Hypernova collection from REM Beauty that is available, but there is a new blush that is also launching from Guerlain. It says that it's a terracotta blush. It's formulated with 90% ingredients of natural origin, reveals cheekbones with a delicate color, evoking the freshness that rises to the cheeks after an escapade in the great outdoors. Um, there are shades like a light pink, deep coral, deep nude, light nude, and a deep pink. These are really beautiful. I actually kind of like that they have like a light coral and a dark coral because depending on the pigment, depending on your shade range, like the deeper coral will work for somebody who has like, a darker skin tone. The light coral will work for somebody who's like super pasty pale, like me. And I like that they're actually offering up like a light shade and a deep shade. I think that's very smart. I do not know how much these are, but Guerlain is a luxury makeup brand. So expect to pay like $30, $40 for that blush. And then we also have Piece of Cake from JCat Beauty. It's a 2-in-1 piece of cake blush and highlighter. So this is kind of like it's a stack, and one part is a highlight, the other part you flip open, and it is a blush. Two different formulas and shades in one compact. The first layer has intense highlight that is packed with maximum shimmer. The second layer will give the best flush color on the cheeks with intense pigmentation. These are $8.99 each. That's a great price. So that comes in 3 shades, one in a melon, having a very good day, and cherry sweet. Honestly, the one that's speaking to me though is one in a melon. That one's beautiful. Not gonna lie. Like, I think that's just so pretty. All 3 of them are very bright. They're very poppy. They're very like spring and summer feeling. $8.99 for those. You can go wrong. Like, that's 2 blushes, technically 3 blushes that we have mentioned with LYS. Glossier is coming out with Cloud Paint Bronzers. They already have like liquid blushes that are in very similar packaging to this, but these are Cloud Paint Bronzers. They're available now. It's a collection of seamless cheek colors. They're bronzer shades inspired by golden hour sunsets. So natural. It's like your skin is made. It says it's easy to wear and apply. Each shade is sheer enough to blend and layer without looking overboard and going overboard or looking ashy. It says that they're $22 each. There are 5 shades in total. There's a deep neutral bronze, which is called Drift. Coast is a golden bronze. Swept is a medium neutral tan. Dune is a golden tan. And Sail is a light neutral tan. Looking at these shades, they go from pretty light to pretty dark. So like shade range wise, they did a pretty good job of being able to include that in there. They look from pictures though like really, really thin in consistency, like what the blushes are. So it's gonna look kind of more like you're just sun kissed with like a bronze than it is like a full-on contour. These are $22 each. It doesn't say how big the packaging is. Because like knowing how big they are, that definitely helps. Like, are you getting a full ounce? Are you getting a half an ounce? Are you getting 0.33 ounces? Like, how much are you getting in that product that is like $22? That's definitely questionable. I feel like we're being punked just a little bit. Like, anybody else kind of feel that way? We're being a little bit punked. The last one that I wanted to mention, Pat McGrath. Are we being punked? Like, are we being punked by Pat McGrath? Because I feel like Something happened. Okay, so we have the Mothership Volume 8 Divine Rose 2 Heart's Desire Edition from Pat McGrath. Says includes a romantic rose-inspired hues presented in an elegant gold palette, 10 shades with creamy mattes, molten metallics, and sparkling glitters with a unique shade-shifting chromatic. Exclusive limited edition gold palette is $150. Isn't 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 this already a Pat McGrath palette? Let me go onto their website. The Mothership Volume 8. Okay, so this looks exactly like the Mothership 9, which is IX, which is the Utopian Dream. This was $128, and it literally looks like the same. Like, are we being punked by Pat McGrath for a minute here? And I feel like we are. I feel like we are. So the limited edition, gold packaging, love, like Divine Rose Heart's Desire. This is a $150 palette, but she already released the same color story in the Utopian Dream eyeshadow palette. And it's also, I mean, that color story is really reminiscent of it. And then she also released the Mothership Volume 8 Divine Rose 2 in regular packaging, and that retails for $128. I think we're being punked by Pat McGrath. Like, I understand, like, limited edition packaging, but, like, at the end of the day, like, if it's limited edition packaging, can you also make it a limited edition, like, color story as well? Because that would be better. That would be a better option. Limited edition packaging and a limited edition color story. Like, anybody else with me? Leave me a comment down below. What do you think? But I feel like we're being punked by Pat McGrath. We're having like deja vu from Pat McGrath because, like, guys, like, what is going on here? Like, we're being punked. I would not buy this. I would not buy a $128 one. I would honestly look at some of her collections and you'll be able to see, like, she has very similar, if not the same, eyeshadow color stories in some of her other collections, like her Mothership ones, or even go to the sale section on the Pat McGrath website and you'll be able to see some of the things that she has for sale as well. I don't know if she has exclusive offers is what it is on her website, but you can go to the exclusive offers section of the Pat McGrath website and you could find an eyeshadow palette on sale, probably over half off with literally the same color story. A good example would be the Mothership Bijou Brilliance. I think that one's kind of like the Bridgerton one, but then that one looks very, very similar. But overall, like, I feel like we are being punked by Pat McGrath. Like, Pat McGrath is punking us because you even have the Mothership Mega Celestial Nirvana palette. You can buy that one for $66. And there's very similar shades in that palette that's also with the Divine Rose 2 palette limited edition collection. Sorry, that's my unfiltered opinion. We're being punked by Pat McGrath. Don't spend your money on it. That's my unfiltered opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and staying tuned to the end. I hope you guys consider subscribing before you go. Let me know what you guys think of the whole Pat McGrath limited edition packaging with the same color story. Leave me a comment down below. I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying tuned to the end of this video. I hope I get to see you in my next one. If you want to see more of me, definitely hit that subscribe button before we go. Bye!